Greg Burke on the mic by accident.
By accident.
Season 3, Jeremy has a love interest.
So Toronto Comicon is all about you guys, it's all about the fans, so please get your questions ready. We'll just be taking them in a second. We'll get to as many as we can. You, and you. But to start off, so we did poll the crowd, by the way, before you got here. We polled the crowd, and there was at least 50% who have not yet seen last night's episode. So, we can allude to it, but we're going to try not to spoil, but you might want to earmuff at some point. But taking that into consideration, Greg, I want to ask you, and I want to ask each of you, with your characters up to this point in season 2, let's put you on the couch a little bit, the strings couch, and talk about your state of mind, where you're at right now. Obviously, Jeremy has had his leadership challenge more than usual so far this season.
You noticed that, did you?
I did.
Yeah, it's been frustrating because everybody has an opinion in my house, right? And I have to sit and listen to a lot of opinions. But it's interesting because Dave and JB are here, and they spent season 1 creating such a tightly knit fabric of a family, and then and obviously we were under a lot of duress and threat. But this year they pull at those bonds, and for me, it's been unsettling because physically my wolves are not around me a lot. And then the witches have a lot of power.
Busy.
Yeah, I noticed that. I know we're going to talk about that later. But I think that Jeremy's frustrated because I want to just quell everything and restore some order, and I just can't seem to do that yet.
Yet.
And where's Nick? I mean, aside from, with Paige most of the time. I mean, if those half of you, was it 50%?
It wasn't quite 50. But we did see the tree scene, which was the following, or the previous week, the scene against the tree.
Yeah, that bark did have a bite. It's not bad.
That was really good.
Yeah, poor Tommie's back is still recovering.
But Steve, what is Nick's state of mind at this point in the season? He's obviously dealing with a lot as well. He's making some new connections as well. But kind of what's his state of mind at this point?
Well, what I'm noticing, what Nick is noticing happening right now is there's a lot of, what Clay and Elena have is so special. It's an incredible bond. And when death is really knocking at our door and things have been sort of thrown for a loop, I'm starting to weigh what is important to me, what do I want to accomplish in my life, and what is something that I've never felt before, and that's, I've never had a special someone. And so it's worth me investigating, and there are these real feelings that are happening inside of me, and so it's just sort of, is this what I need to do? And yeah, just trusting that.
You said they were all special.
In ways, yeah.
Unhappy ladies out there.
Something.
But not a witch, right? There's something special.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right?
And Tommy, what's it been like to inhabit Paige so far this season?
Oh gosh, it's been so much fun, and coming on to what? Why are you laughing?
Oh, I wanted to take that question. What's it been like inhabiting?
Oh, for God's sakes. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be able to kind of come on to a family that has already been working together for a season. And I don't know, I get to play a witch, which is so much fun. And we were talking about it earlier, like with all of the magic stuff. That's cool, especially with this guy, like being able to throw him across the room. And it's just like, really, this is what I get to do? That was so fun. You were hanging by a rig.
Yep, I was. It's like Alpha Pinata. Just give me a little shove when you walk by, that's all right.
Yeah.
I still have my dignity.
Was that done with ropes and pulleys, or how did that work? Or can you actually levitate, sir?
I can levitate. Jump. No, I was hanging in a rig, and then to save time, I just stayed up there for large portions of time.
Your legs go numb?
Not in that other parts. Yeah.
Did they feed you while you were up
Go for that,
They often they come by with crafts, like, but I was kind of high up, so it was like a long, just
Like
sort of
throw
throw a
grapes
carrot
in your
at
mouth?
me. Yeah.
Actually, if I recall, didn't you want them to raise you a little bit higher? Like you're like, I am better than this. Like pull the rig up. I think you were just on the floor a little bit, and then never.
Yeah.
So Tammy, Ruth, a really, really awesome character, an amazing addition to the cast. In the last few episodes, we've learned a lot about her, obviously in terms of her connection to Alistair. What are your thoughts on the character and the twist that we've seen thus far?
Well, there's a real arc to Ruth. So right now, she's gone from being really powerful and sure of what she wants to quite haunted and trying to make things right again. So it really amps up, and she uses her powers for a different purpose.
Well, without giving too much away, are we going to see more interaction between son and mother?
That was a few episodes ago, right?
No, but I want to see. But oh, like you mean
Yeah, we're not
like,
spoiling
I'm
anything.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not spoiling that, but yeah.
But it's so hard to do without spoilers.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, you noticed I was completely at a loss for words there. I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I actually don't have to answer that without spoiling the fun, so I'm just going to take
Okay,
a
good.
on
No,
that.
be safe. That's good. That's good.
Well, maybe we should take a look at next week's episode so we can get that spoiler out of the way. What do you say, crowd?
You want to see a sneak peek?
Yeah, listen to this.
And guys, if you could refrain from
Oh, yeah.
photographing or videotaping this is just for your eyes, so if you guys do it that solid, it would be great. And with that in mind, here's a look at next week's episode of Bitten.
Entirely about werewolves. And now we see an exclusive scene, and they aren't present. You've introduced this whole new element. So, to Tammy and Tommie, what was it like working with Kiera? She's like a real standout and delivering amazing performances.
Yeah, shout out to Kiera Glasgow who plays
Yeah.
Savannah. She's awesome.
She is a talented little actress and wise beyond her years, that's for sure.
We'll be seeing a lot of Kiera Glasgow, I'm sure.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Just begun.
And that was a nice scene for me because to see my two daughters, it was a really, then the way it was directed was quite beautiful because it wasn't played as a heavy dark thing. I mean, particularly Paige and I were quite pleased with the whole thing. So it was, for us, it was, a birth in a way, and as sort of a celebration. So.
Not like a birthday party.
Right? Yeah, happy birthday. Yeah.
A really weird birthday. Should we open up the floor to questions? Who's got a question for the Bitten gang?
Right there.
Hi guys. So Kelly has created a extensive world with other creatures other than witches and stuff. So in that world, the other world, which would you guys like to see kind of next play across? Would it be like the vampires or the ghosts or the half demons? Cougars? What would you guys like to come on and play again?
Has the crowd on this side heard the question? Some of it? It was about the expanded world that Kelly Armstrong created in the book series. There are many other creatures at play, ghosts, vampires, half demons, and the question was to the cast, who would they like to see in the future join the ranks on the series if possible?
I'd like to see some ghosts in there. Definitely. Yeah.
I think that Kelly's done such. Are you done?
No, I'd also like to see dragons. Now I'm done.
Yeah, Kelly's done such a great job at making this insane world, and I think that it's a shout out to Dagan, who created this fantastic show, and I can only imagine how much of a feat that is to kind of incorporate everything that Kelly has already created on her own. And I think that we're able to take the liberty because we adhere to the show, but we have the liberty to be able to kind of play with it in different ways. So who knows what's to come? And I think that's what's so exciting is that there's so many avenues, right? Yeah.
And I'm curious for your perspective, guys. Obviously it's tough to integrate a new supernatural substrate into a show where we, in season 1 we focused on werewolves. Why do you think the addition of the witches has worked so well in this second season?
I think what it allowed to do is it tears at the fabric that they worked so hard to create. And at the heart of the story, it's about family. And it's about those relationships and people that love each other and are willing to kill and die for each other and go through those struggles. And I think that's what an audience relates to on a level. It's thrilling, of course. I mean, the sex and the violence and the stakes are so heightened, but there's a heartbeat underneath it all. And with the witches bringing that element, the magic to it. It makes us all uncertain. And I think that we also can relate to uncertainty in our world. And as much as they want to control, and Ruth wants to protect her people and love them and care for them, it's two families that are each trying to navigate their own path. And whatever supernatural elements, whether there's more, whether we go back to wolves, however that's incorporated, that really is the decision for the TV show. And as much as Kelly Armstrong's books are an amazing resource, and we honor those, the integrity of those, the intention of those, this show now has a life of its own. And that's what's so exciting, that people that love the books have that, and it will live forever in your imaginations. And now you have flesh on the bone as well. So it's we shall see what magic comes.
Great answer, Greg. Glad to hear that. I really love, so as you'll see unfold in the next few episodes, I love what Dagan and JB and the writers have done to tie them in. There's this really, the way it unravels is beautiful. And I remember being on set, we were filming, I think it was episode 2 or 3, when we were in Baton Rouge. And Dagan was there. It was just me and Dagan, and I was like, so what's gonna happen? Like, can you give me any spoilers for like the way the season plays out? And she went through everything because she had it so clear in her mind how it was going to play out, and how the sort of the worlds collide and intertwine, and this backstory of it all. And I was so enthralled with her. Just like, really? That is so awesome. I got so excited, and it just having that knowledge, even that early on in the season, and knowing where we were going, it colored it beautifully, exactly, and it gave me so much energy because I know I had so much trust in the story itself. So I'm really excited for you guys to see how it unfolds in the next few episodes. So,
Question from the floor.
Resolution at season 1 with the dead bodies and police?
They are not talking. They're absolutely statuesque.
What do you think wolves do with just a bunch of old meat? There are no bodies.
Will we see the police chief again? Maybe a good question. Maybe in season 3 is the official answer.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Another one from the floor. Hey, David.
A lot of the talk on Afterbite and some interviews on Nurseface was about the production value, how it was amped up for season 2. So my question is actually for the whole cast, the CG effects, does that make it easier now to kind of relate to what's happening on screen?
It doesn't really, to be perfectly honest, it doesn't affect what we're doing, and that's the...
It affected me.
It did.
Yeah, just because I had the option of using either a CGI special effect or actually putting in some lenses. And she was a trooper about it. I nearly fainted. But as an actor, I chose to actually have the real Tommie size, very thick, opaque, very painful lenses put in my eyes, and use that as a sort of fodder for what I was going through. But the exciting part about the CGI stuff is that, of course, you don't see it when you're filming it, so then when we get to watch the show, like even just this little bit here, it's like, oh, that was cool, look at the fire went up on that. Because you don't actually get to experience some of the stuff, So it reveals itself to us, which is fun.
Yeah, like when you're shooting, that's what's so, there's a challenge to shooting special effects kind of stuff, because often the things that you're doing or whatever, they don't manifest until you actually see the episode and it's gone through post and all that kind of stuff. That being said, they've definitely upped the ante compared to season 1 to 2. I think it's just much darker and grittier, and I think they just kind of took it to the next level,
Sure, it's a learning curve. So they were establishing the world, what the wolves looked like, how they moved in season 1, and then season 2 is all about refining that process, and I think they look spectacular this season. And it doesn't really affect, for us again, it's that human connection, that element is what we focus on and play on, but it's nice when we watch to see how beautiful it looks and how, audiences have very sophisticated palate for what special effects look like, and the closer we get to your idea of what a wolf should look like, the happier everyone is.
It's also, it feels really silly, like shooting it on the day when, like even, I think it was last night's episode. Oh, you have to respond to, you know, you transformed last night. And it's just like they're...
I thought you didn't get the 3 memos about...
Then I got really drunk and
Witches.
into a
Transformer.
Can't tell us.
Casanova.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's okay, it's okay.
Damn it.
No, it's not.
But
Their fault for not watching.
yeah.
Oh! Everybody turn on Steve Lund.
But yeah, but like having to respond to seeing like, okay, there's a wolf in front of you and he's biting his leg and now, oh my god, and he's, oh my god, and you're just like,
That was great.
it's an acting feat, right? That's how.
Well, and a shout out to Boris Moisovsky too. As some of you know, there's a new DOP on season 2. Fantastic. And season 1 was great as well, but there does seem to be this elevated tension to the shooting style this season. So he was actually a guest on Afterbite as well. We'll give him a shout out. Another question from the audience. Hello. Hey. The question was about Alistair's connection to Ruth, their familial connection, and what that was like reading about it the first time on the script.
I frankly was insulted because, no, I'm just kidding. It was exciting. It definitely got revealed. There were hints to it, and I was like, oh, is that going to be the, so, it was exciting, but he is a little old to play my son. No, I'm kidding.
I don't believe, this is what's so great about doing TV, is that often you don't really know what's coming up as you shoot. So you get a script and you work on that for the week, and then, in the midst of that, you find out what's going to happen in the next episode. And I thought that it was a gift that I didn't know because Paige didn't know, right? So to be able to kind of just have that in the moment was beneficial to me and to portraying Paige. So that was kind of cool. Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's go right there.
So of course everyone goes through situations differently, like the characters. I was wondering if you guys are similar to your characters in certain things.
Are the actors similar to the characters was the question.
Pretty close.
No.
I mean, I don't change into a wolf and
Other than that.
metaphorically maybe.
No, I don't know. I don't know if you guys could tell. I'm not exactly like the character that I play. So, I was doing some acting.
And I feel lucky actually to have had this part because I think it's made me actually a better person. Like when you're put into that position of playing the alpha of the pack, it imitates sort of the structure of my own life, but it made me become a better person. I did some real soul searching and try to earn that title. And it's been a process over the 2 years. And this year was really interesting for me because, it was the hunt for Malcolm in season 1. And I think Jeremy always defined himself, and in the way I do too, as not my father. So you define yourself in the absence of something as opposed to what you really are. And then when we confronted Malcolm, and then when he dies, and now I'm without that totem, the point that I defined myself against, it was really, it was confusing in a lot of ways. And I think that part of Jeremy's journey, and for all of us really, is to accept the fact that the blood of our fathers is in us too. Like, we can't deny that. You have to take that and find the strength in that. So it was a confusing year for me in a lot of ways, and in a fruitful way, I think.
Well, I think your characters really changed a lot from season 1 to season 2. At the beginning, of course you were fun, you're the latest man, I guess you still are in the show. But you're definitely a bit more grounded this season. And so what's been that transition like for you as an actor?
Did you say I put on weight?
No, I said ladies man.
More round?
More round.
Noticed that, I guess.
No,
You said I can't act.
grounded.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful transition for me. Just to have more responsibilities as an actor, really. It's been a great learning curve for me. It's fun to play. It's fun to have that comedic relief and to have those lighter moments in a show that is inherently dark for the most part. But you crave that realism. You crave connecting to something that really resonates in your person. Although I'd never had a significant loss like a parent, when my father died, it obviously caused me to harden up and really start to prioritize my life. And like Greg said, it makes you a better person. It makes you really try to touch on those things in your own life, and therefore you grow. And I think as an actor and as a performer that I'm growing with the wonderful material that I've gotten. It's been really fun.
So you mentioned lighter moments and comedy. I want to ask Tommie-Amber and Tammy, joining a new show, I imagine in a way, or joining a show that's already on would kind of be like joining a class, joining a high school class that already knows each other. So what was it like for you guys coming on set, especially when you're coming onto a set that is mostly dudes, and then you get two cast members of the female persuasion? Did you come on and did you have any impressions of who was kind of the biggest joker or jackass off the top? I mean, did you come out and you said, oh, it's going to be tough to do a scene with that person because they're going to crack me up?
Yeah. Well, I was with Bryk a lot, and I knew Bryk from other projects, so it didn't feel that foreign. Being the new kid on the block is not something that comes easily to me. I wasn't looking forward to that part, but this cast was incredible. And they say the fish stinks from the head down, or at least I've heard that. And so when you've got great producers, it trickles down. So there was no sense of ego. There was no sense of lying. Here's your club and here's ours. Right. Thank God, because I don't know how I would have dealt with that. So I'm really happy that it was seamless. It was easy.
Yeah, it was exciting. I think Laura would appreciate this question because she was hanging around with these dudes for a whole season.
What did you call us? Jackasses? Is that the word?
I heard
Jackasses?
Jackasses. Lovable, though. Lovable.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't hear lovable when you first said it.
I don't recall.
What is it like having to shoot the love scenes with Steve? Because he strikes me as a guy who would be trying to crack you up for a big portion of it.
Well, it's funny.
This thing is on.
What were you thinking?
I don't know. It's funny that you asked that question because I think that in every can you stop taking a fucking selfie? Oh my God. So this is what it's like. Exactly. I think that in every other aspect, like we joke all the time, but when it came to the romance, it was very lighthearted, but also very serious. I mean, we didn't. It requires a certain amount of connection and vulnerability, and I think that this is something that Stephen and I really, wanted to portray authentically. So. And I'm also somebody, if I get the giggles, it's just, we should wrap the day, because it's difficult. But, to be able to work. Thanks, man. Yeah, it was fun and serious and to the point, and I think that's why our chemistry on the show is so good, because we know when to call the jokes off, and we know how to play. We know how to play, and we know how to just make it real,
There's a mutual respect.
Yeah.
Like, it is a lot of fun, obviously. It's, that's the greatest part of the job, is you get to meet these extraordinary people and connect with them on a level, very quickly that you wouldn't otherwise have in your day-to-day life. But at the end of the day, we have a respect for the material, and we need to communicate as best we can how these characters are going through this stuff. So when it does come time for those scenes, it's like, okay, bring it back down to earth and
Focus.
Yeah, focus. Very, very intense focus.
And it's so vulnerable, right? It's like, okay, show up on set today, we're gonna, be having sex and making out, and oh my God, is my breath stink? Oh my God, why are you touching me there? It's all very weird.
She wasn't into it. But as much as we laugh and joke and think, oh my God, that's crazy, that must be so much fun or whatever. And
it's technical.
I have a lot of people come up to me and be like, oh man, we have the best job in the world, you get to make out with all these girls. And it's like, yeah, but it's it's not all fun. It's you must be respectful to every part of the process. And at the end of the day, you know, we live in a society that objectifies women, and there are times when the woman is so exposed and vulnerable, and there's a ton of people around, and you have to make them feel as safe as possible.
And what was captured on film, I promise you wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the fact I'm going to throw you a compliment, Steve.
Really?
Yeah, ready? Steve was so goddamn professional and respectful and kind and generous, and he made me feel taken care of. And I think that in scenes like that, there's nothing more that an actress can ask for. Because, you know, you're on set with a bunch of dudes with sandwiches in their mouth being like, yeah, let's film this. And you're, you know, naked in a forest. And so to have, you know, honestly, and I think this is what makes you such a great actor, Steve, is because you take care of your scene partners. Steve won. He is perfect.
To apologize. Teddy and I were on set that day, and you did have delicious sandwiches there. What can I say?
Well, I think my next question then is, what can we expect from the love connection between Paige and Steve? I mean, that's something I really want to.
Steve's still crying. I love you, man. Oh gosh, you know, I really wish that I could say more because it's all very exciting, but you have to stay tuned. I think there's some interesting, things coming up, the two of us, isn't it?
We have to really take into account that there's more happening than just out. Yeah. You know, well, it's all well and good, and it's I guess something to take your mind off what's really happening in our world. Things are getting to a boiling point, and it just sort of, you never get a moment to yourself, unfortunately. So it's a matter of finding that balance, because we're going to be called upon in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a true test to see if this relationship does have what it takes.
They both got pretty complicated lives, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Off to the crowd. Hello. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Greg, I know you're my favorite, but my question's for the whole cast. Are there any funny pranks or behind-the-scenes stories for the public forum that you can tell?
I saran wrapped Greg's face.
What? Did you really?
Yeah. Remember in the craft talk, we were bored and I saran wrapped your face, and you looked. Yeah.
Memory.
You don't remember that?
You know you just ran up and
Yeah, right, your whole face, and you were there, and you filmed it.
You were talking about like art or something.
In my defense, I have a lot on my plate.
Yeah, you were thinking about a tweet, weren't you? That's why you were.
I must have been in a poetic slumber at the time.
There was a great moment last night. JB Sugar, our wonderful executive producer, and Tommie-Amber, my wonderful co-star, and myself were watching Bitten together, and then we were watching Afterbite. And I don't know if you guys saw Afterbite, but there was 3 bearded men on a couch. It was really funny, and Greg was clinging to one end, like just had the one cheek on there, trying to. He was caught in some sort of daze as JB and I were answering the questions, and there was a bit of a lull, just a moment of silence, and looking at Greg's contemplative look on screen, Tommy goes, "Look, Greg's thinking about a tweet right now."
Tammy, do you have a favorite moment?
Oh, I definitely did not get saran wrapped on my face. I don't think I did, but I have a lot on my plate too. No, you know what? I'm not that girl. You know, I wish I was. I wish I was Steve Lund. I wish I could come up with these really funny things, but it's just not me.
Well, now you know the saran wrap trick. Maybe you don't remember.
I really have. I believe you. I have like not even a flicker.
Someone needs to tweet this out.
Yeah. Well, there was probably some oxygen deprivation.
I gave you breathing holes.
All right, so go back to the floor for more questions. You know we're running out of time.
Okay, so this new season has introduced witches into the cast, which makes me wonder, because witchcraft, and more probably known as Wicca, is a real thing.
Yeah.
How much research into the actual culture and theology of witches went into this TV representation?
Did everyone hear? The question was
You
about...
mean in terms of the acting aspect, or in terms of the creation?
Yeah, the creation or like the characterization of the witches.
And then, yeah, okay.
I suppose that would be an answer for our showrunner, but I think that you gotta. I don't know.
I just made it up. I honestly didn't do research on that. It's there's one scene talking about funny things that happened. There's at one point somebody on the set who was a director, I don't think it was, said just say something like something Latin-ish in the background, and I was like Latin-ish. So I literally said like sassafras over and over again. It's just my lips moving. We're never going to have to do this. But of course we did have to do this. So then our poor writer had to come up with something Latin that kind of looked like I was saying, like sassafras, only it was like... I'm not going to tell you which scene, but that was sort of the extent to which I took the whole real Wicca, seriously. I didn't. I pulled from my life in a more serious way. I'm a mom, and I really took that part seriously with Kira and Tommy. So really, that's what I drew upon.
And they take great, Dig and the rest of the writers, they take great care in setting up the rules as we need them to be, to serve the show best. So rather than being really fetishistic about what are the actual rules, it's like we create a world and it stayed consistent all the way through, and it's what serves the show to thrill and to entertain.
And obviously, from my standpoint, I read up, but I'd spend hours just researching, back to Salem witch trials and all that kind of stuff, like, everything, YouTube and all that kind of stuff. I want to be informed, when it comes to the character that I'm playing. But that being said, like Bryk was saying, a lot of the things that were happening were not only designed based on Kelly's vision or Dagan's vision or whatever. We got to find it on the day.
For me, I just listened to that Eagles song.
Greg, are you gonna sing?
Nope. I'm still reeling over the ceramic. Like now I'm really firing over the ceramic and it's really freaking out.
All your next tweets are going to be about saran wrap.
No, see this evidence.
I have a picture of it on my computer.
I can saran wrap your face right now if you want.
Leftovers.
Move on to the next question.
Was there another question? No, but I think it was...
Yeah.
I want to know when Max is coming back.
Oh, we all.
Max the Doorman. Does everybody know AJ's cameo in season 1? Max the Doorman! That's a smattering of applause, I
think I hire him as a valet.
Yeah.
He's the butler. He just lives. We play chess and
show up at Stonehaven, just pushing a broom in the background.
With an English accent.
Max the crappy concierge who let the murderers into the apartment. Right? Yeah. That would be cool.
That's hilarious.
We might see him again, right? Yeah.
I did get a cigar.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
Cool.
We have a question.
You've had your hand up for a while?
Yeah, Tim.
Tim.
Hey, Tim.
Good night.
That's a good question.
It's
Just
you
reiterate.
guys, it's the fans, it's been a huge impact to me. I had no idea what I was signing up for. As an actor, you go out for a lot of auditions. This was one of them. As far as I was concerned, I was running lines with my 11-year-old in the car on the way to the audition. And then when I finished, I was like, okay, we gotta go get your brother. It's just, it's in the scheme of my life. And then to actually book the gig, it was like, wow, and there was this celebration of cool 10 episodes, the mortgage will get paid, yay. And then I'm like, wow, this is like a whole world, because, I wasn't familiar with the books. So dude, look around you, like, oh my God, this is a huge impact on my life, and I've gotten to meet so many new people and been opened up to this whole genre that you guys are amazing. So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, about the same. This is I think I feel like I mostly am doing film stuff, but when it comes to working in TV, it's a totally different medium, and it's like, you know, the fast pace of it, and it's like, same as Tam, like as soon as I signed on, it's like, all of a sudden, it just like, it was just so much that was happening, like wardrobe fittings and shooting and all of this kind of press stuff, and it's like, as an actor, you feel so lucky, you know, and for me, I always count my blessings. I mean, I'm currently unemployed, so I don't know what my next job is, so.
Are any of us employed?
No.
So we're glad to be here.
Yeah, right?
Day all day, try to be here.
Yeah, honestly, like if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here. Like literally, because season 2 was, I think, kind of like on the, you know, but it was renewed in Finten, so thank you.
On that note, we do have to conclude the panel. Let's do some quick business. When you entered the room, you might have received a ticket if you were one of the first lucky 150 people through the door. It was one color or another. What's that?
Steve Lund on the
If your ticket matches this color, you will receive an autograph, and the ticket is yellow! So you can go collect your autographs at the celebrity autograph.
Most extraordinary fans, and you are all